Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Gungurubhyo Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kabim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashranmanudibhisida sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidanandamurtaye Nisprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Yasyatmabodhasya Guraprasadat Aham Vimuktasmi Samsara Bandhad Sarvopadeshtu Sivananda Murtehe Mridvagriyukmam Pranadoshmi Nityam Dayasindhum Dena Bandhum Shastrartha Bodhana Patum Maskarindra Bharam Naumi Sri Chidananda Sadgurum. Om Praninam Dukkha Hartaru Jnanado Bhuvana Muktaye Shivananda Chidananda Ashraye Guru Sattamu. Om. My humble pranams to our holy master Swami Shivananda Maharaj, Swami Chidananda Maharaj, and also to the divine that is present in every one of you here. So yesterday we are going through that theme. True spirituality means God and God alone. And yesterday it was little mystical. And today we will make it little more light. So, as you know that spirit, when we say spirituality and spirit, soul, we call it as soul. And this is considered as something not physical. And the subject that deals with that, we call it as metaphysics. Something not connected with this world. The soul, the spirit is something not connected with the world. So the presence of that transcendental reality, the absolute in us, we call it as the spirit. And the exercises we do to understand that, we call it as spirituality. So right from the day life came into existence, human beings, when they start thinking about, when they saw the world and started thinking, what is this world? And what is my connection? Who am I? These thoughts were there. And their inquiry, their search to find out the real nature, that which is not in these changing things, that which is the changeless. Or we can call it in a simple way, how I came into existence, who is my creator, what is my relationship with him, whether anything is there after my death here. When I die, what happens to me? All these inquiries they made And this led to some practices to understand the Creator, or we call it as everything is relative here. What is that absolute? What is that transcendental reality? In this ephemeral world, is there anything eternal? So the search was there, and they also did some practices, which we call it as spiritual practices. So the spiritual practices are usually made at different levels. We do the spiritual practice at the physical level. You visit holy places. People go to church, the temples, worship God, do something, go to holy places, take bath in holy rivers, visit the holy places. And there are saints who go to the saints and sit at their feet and receive messages. So there are certain aspects, physical aspect is there. In India, it is more actually. This visiting places, walking by foot, and remaining in water and doing japa, putting fire on four sides and sun above, Panchagini. They sit like that. And some people sit on pin and the nails. They throw away all the cloth and remain exposed. The body is exposed to the cold and heat. All these physical things, the practice of the spirituality is done at physical level. And then we all in every place. It's not confined to India, even in the West also it was there. They call it the desert fathers. So they went to the seclusion and tortured their body, adapted poverty, comfort they discarded. Poverty is for the body only. Then they also practice at mental level, at the emotional level. You pray to God and then shed tears. You develop a love. And also they practice at the intellectual level. They study scriptures, then write. So the spiritual practices are done at physical level, mental level, intellectual level. These are visible to us, tangible to us. People study the scriptures. The inquiry into who is that? Who is the Creator? What is my relationship with Him? So yesterday we saw that the Supreme Reality or the God, we normally call it as, in the mystics, the devotees call it as God. The philosophers call it as that which is transcendental, that which is absolute, that is relative, that is absolute. Whether it is philosopher or mystics or devotees, normally there is a concept that the absolute and the relative are opposite to each other. The relative has nothing to do with the absolute. And God is a transcendental reality, has nothing to do with these mundane things. And yesterday we saw that words cannot describe that. He is beyond words. He passeth all words. Mind cannot comprehend it. You say the mind cannot comprehend. If the mind cannot comprehend, if the word cannot describe it, and if that supreme reality the transcendental reality, if God has nothing to do with this earth, then where is the path? There is no path. We will be at loggerheads. If God is a transcendental reality alone, and we are here in this relative field, and we have nothing to do with that, there is no bridge between the ephemeral and the eternal. There is no bridge, there is no road from the relative to the transcendent. It cannot be that way. In that case, all spiritual practices will be futile here. If words cannot describe that, if mind cannot comprehend it, what is this bloody exercise we are doing? So one place it is said the mind cannot comprehend it. The words cannot describe it. And the other place we are trying to behold him with the mind. Are we not intelligent beings? How are we contradicting that? If that is not possible, the spiritual exercises are totally wasted. So there is a relationship between the relative and the absolute. There is a relationship between you and God. That transcendental God and you are somehow or other intimately connected with each other. If that is not so, then all our exercises, all these years people would not have been doing all this exercise. So they are not fools. So they have done it. And they pass on this to us. They are not going to cheat us. You do this, they say. Gurudev gives 20 spiritual instructions. Do this. How come that getting up at 4 o'clock and doing little japa is going to connect me to my Creator? So there must be a link, a connection which is not visible to us. Between me and my God, between the relative and the transcendent, there is a link. The link is not tangible to us now, but it is there. Otherwise, all these years, people were not here to cheat us. All the saints, they have told us to do this, to do this. How come this will help us to do that? So there is a link. Although we do the spiritual practices at the physical level, coming here and sitting here and hearing 2 lectures, will it connect you to your God? If it will not connect, this is very much relative. People use words and they tell you to do some mental exercises. If he is beyond the concept of the mind, if he is beyond all words, then what is this retreat program? Is it only a get-together? Or do we have something hidden here? Something is taking place here. Although physically it is not available to us to perceive. It's not tangible to us. Something is working here. So there are imageries. Most of these mystical statements you come across in the scriptures are imageries. The parables, it's not stories, these are not similes. You cannot make an equal like that. They are imageries. And those imageries we may understand or may not understand. Once a master told a student, he came here, show me that light. Guide me in my spiritual practice. He said, all right, I have some cows here. Take them and bring it when they become twice their number. He gives 400, make it 1,000 and come back. So this fellow goes and keep on grazing that. Then when it became 1,000, one bull talks to him. Oh my dear, we have become 1,000, take back to the master. How can a bull talk? Then on his way, some bird gives him some knowledge. You will find in these scriptures that the trees talk to people. The saints got their knowledge, the trees give them the knowledge. The mountains speak, the rivers speak to them. You sit on that, there is a flow of water, there is a music of that flow, and that music speaks to you. Oh my dear, you are not this body, not this mind. It doesn't speak you the language you speak. It puts you that idea into your mind. There was a person, a very saintly person, he had a son. He told his son, my dear son, in our house, no one who is not learned. We are all learned people in our family. Your grandfather was like that. His father was like that. We cannot be without learning. Go and learn. So this boy learned for a few years and then came back. Came back and then the father saw him. When he saw him, he found that he is not modest. He is haughty, very proud of his learning. Yes. Yes, I will talk to you, like that. Then the father asked him, my dear son, you have studied, how long you have studied? 12 years, my father. I have learned everything. You can test me. So, very good. Then he said, how come that you are so proud of your learning? How come that you are so haughty and immodest? Have you not been told that instruction by which you will know what is not known? Had you that instruction which will help you to know, through which you will be able to know the unknown? You will be able to hear the unheard, and you will be able to think the unthinkable. Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati, amatam matam avijñātam vijñātam. Have you got that instruction by which you will know the unknown? You will hear the unheard, and you will know the unknown. Then the boy said, they have not told me that. My teacher has not told me that. Then he says, probably he may not be knowing. So why don't you tell me, he says. Why don't you tell me? So the spiritual exercises, whatever we do, it can remain at the physical level. People may be doing that exercise for years, but this instruction might not have come. We have studied for so many years, but the unheard, that which passeth all words, you are not able to read between lines there. That which is unthinkable, you are not able to think there. Somewhere it is said, mind cannot comprehend it. But in another place it says, Manasa eva buddhavyam. Through the mind only you have to comprehend it. It is beyond the concept of the mind. But that which is beyond the concept of the mind, you have to understand with the mind alone. The statements of the mystic will always look like the statements of the mad. Yesterday I told you, the man said, he bet me first, but before that I bet him. So he bet me first, but before that I bet him. So it is a statement which gives no meaning, but it has got a profound meaning. So here the unthinkable, you should be able to think that. That is the instruction. So if your retreat helps you, if the instructions comes to you to behold that which is beyond all concept, beyond all comprehension, if they are able to speak through the words that which is passeth all words, and if you are able to comprehend that, then the retreat, the spiritual exercises become useful. Otherwise, you are here, the mic is also hearing the tape recorder, every instruction is there. Now in the internet you find everything. The whole gamut of philosophy is there, the internet. The Google will not get moksha. The window will not get moksha. So, that which works underneath, they call it as, in the Sanskrit terminology, it is called adhyajna. Adhyajna. So if God has created us, if God has made man in his own image and breathed him to the life, there is a connection between me and my Creator. He has breathed. The breath He has put in me is still moving in me. It is not my breath or your breath. So somehow we have separated ourselves and come here. The transcendent has become the relative. The eternal has only become this. The changeless has become the changing. These are two sides to two dimensions. If it is not there, there is no possibility of going back to Him. There is no meaning in this seeking. Whom you seek? There is a question in the Bible. Whom you seek? I am He. I have told you that what you seeketh is me. So if you are seeking him, then he should be amenable to that seeking. And you don't have that capacity to put that. So in the Shastras call it as the adhyajna. That which is transcendental, we call it as the akshara, the imperishable. The akshara, the imperishable. That which is relative is called kshara, perishable. Perishable and imperishable. Akshara and kshara. The perishable has come from the imperishable. If we have independent existence and nothing to do with the Creator, we don't call him as Creator. If he is the Creator and I am his creation, what is my connection? He is my Father in the heaven. So I am the chip of the same block. They give an example like this. The water in the ocean during the height of summer, they get evaporated and they become clouds. Later the clouds condense and then it rains. When it rains in different places. And then those rainwater, they form some streams, some rivulets and rivers. And they flow in different directions. Some one is called the Amazon, some Missouri, Mississippi, the Ganga, Kaveri. They flow in the north, they flow in the south, they flow in the west. Ultimately, they reach the same ocean. We are waters of the same ocean. That's a famous song by these Beatles. We are waters of the same ocean, we are waters of the same ocean. So the water cycle, that's an example. And then there is an example. Sometimes in the churches I find that Jesus Christ is standing with his arms like this, calling, come on, come ye my children, come, come, come. Giving a clarion call, come ye my children, come, come, come. This is imagery actually. There is an imagery on this in the Vedas. The children are very fond of the mother. The mother holds on to that all the time. Sometimes the child wants to have little fun and adventure. Then it gets out of the mother's hand and go here and there and wander. As long as it finds some joy there, it finds. And suddenly it finds some frightened. Then it wants to come back to the mother. Then look back, where is mother? Then they run. Sometimes the mother calls, come, come, aja, aja, come, come, come. It will not go. But when it is fed up with those things, then it will come back quickly. So there is a call actually. Likewise, we are children of that. This relative, this mundane is born out of that supreme reality. And sometimes the child plays outside, doesn't want to go to the mother, even if the call comes. But when it is hungry, when it is afraid of something, then it runs back to the mother. Likewise, there is a going back is there. That going back. So we have come from him. A pot is made out of clay. So the making of the pot is there. The clay is made into a pot. Likewise, when it is made into a pot, it is clay only. Pot is only a name, it is really clay only. So you all have names. These names are just names only. They are not you. You are really clay. And then when it is broken, it becomes clay again. So the name pot and its existence as pot, both were ephemeral. It never remained as pot. It always remained as clay only. Pot is a name attributed by you. It is only an attribute. It was never something different from that original thing. The effect is never different from the cause. The cause only is the effect. We give a name to the effect and call it separate. We give a name and then call it separate from that. I went to South Africa. She was also there. The Cape Town. We went to Cape of Good Hope. Earlier it was called Cape of Storms. Then they changed it as Cape of Good Hope. And then they told me, Swamiji, this side is Atlantic. This side is Indian Ocean. Where is Indian Ocean? This is. Where is Atlantic? This is. Where is the boundary? I asked. Then they told me this side will be water will be cold, this side will be water will be hot. Then what happens in our solar water taps? Sometimes water will be cold and sometimes water will be hot. After night when you open the tap first, there will cold water only come for some time. So like that only, what is the difference? It's only one water that is flowing. So they called it as Atlantic, and this, they called it as Indian Ocean. Where is the boundary? Where is the demarcation? And where is the bridge between the two? And they thought I am a fool. They did not answer the question. They cannot understand. Okay. Likewise, where is the difference between the relative and the transcendent? It is a difference in the mind. It is a difference that is created by the mind. And this difference is reconciled. And all these exercises, when we do these exercises, physical, mental and intellectual exercises, or why are doing all these intellectual exercises? In all these exercises, there is an undercurrent actually. That undercurrent is called adhyajna. And then in this Bhagavad Gita, they say adhyajnam ahamevatra. That adhyajna, that undercurrent which makes you to comprehend the incomprehensible. That which brings within the boundaries the unbounded. That which describes the indescribable. That undercurrent, we call it as adhyajna, and that adhyajna is what is known as God. Adhyajnam ahamevatra. So when we practice all these things, whatever practice we do, if this adhyajna part is not there, like the boy who came to his father, haughty and proud of his learning, proud of his spiritual practices. And then, yes, all red cloth, fine. That was not absent there. So, all this, it is external. It is externally you appears a saint's appearance, pious walking, downcast eyes, walk like this. All these things will be, but all these things will exhibit that you are nowhere near that God. Shankaracharya puts it in a beautiful way. Jatilo mundi, lunjita kesha, kashayam bhara bahukrita vesha. And all the externally you appear to be doing all practices. But this adhyajna, that you are not, that God is not working there. The God's hand is not there. When the God's hand is there, then whatever activity we do, everything that you are doing is spiritual. They used to say, Ramana Maharshi used to cut the vegetables in the kitchen. Cutting the vegetable is a spiritual practice. In all the hotels, the people who are there in the kitchen, they also cut the vegetable. That is not spiritual. So walking to different places, visiting holy places, hearing all lectures, sitting at the master's feet. In all these things, this undercurrent should flow, the alchemy should take place. That supreme reality, we allow Him to work through us. In all these activities, His hand should be there. Then every activity becomes a profound activity. People used to say, some saintly person, when he walked in, I thought that God has walked in. The Mataji was telling, the impersonal is speaking actually. It is not the person speaking. There should be an inner prompting that he should speak. We call it as intuition. The intuition works. Many times I have seen Swami Chidanji Maharaj, they will ask some questions. Swamiji, this is this, what should I do? He will not give an answer. Then they will say, can I do like this? Yes, yes, he will say. He will defer answering that. Why he is not giving an answer, I was thinking many times. He wants the answer to come. He doesn't want the answer to come from here, from the intellect. The impersonal should speak actually. You all have that wonderful impersonal in every one of you. Allow that to come to the surface. That impersonal, that adhyajna, that God who is very much present in every speck here, He is present in you also. The life you are having here is that which He has breathed into. And you are seeking Him and He says, I am He. May He bless you. Hari Om Tat Sat.